welcome back to Weyermann's Whimsy. Today we are going to make this easel fold card. It's also a Z fold, but because we're doing it a portrait instead of landscape, it's an easel card and it locks in place like that so that it will actually stand up. So I've used the Pansy Petal Designer Series paper, and it's part of the Pansy Petals suite, which is on page 28 of the annual catalog. There are the stamps and the dies to cut out all different kinds of pansies and leaves. And the dies actually work with the Designer Series paper as well, so you can cut out the shapes. Now, the kicker here is I loved the paper, had to make decisions about which suites I could buy, so I only bought the paper. But because it's got such beautiful detailed images on it, I actually by hand cut the pieces out to make the card from the Designer Series paper. So this is one sheet. I cut the smaller and the larger pansies out. There's a piece of the Designer Series paper with the leaves on it. This is the background paper I used, and then the paper with the smaller pansies on it. And as usual, I've cut all my Designer Series paper to 5 1/4 by 4. So I used those to cut out my images. This one I used polished pink on. The card that I'm going to make in the video, I'm going to use the fresh freesia for. So because I didn't have the dies and I cut out by hand, there was a certain amount of prep work for this. So basically I want to show you how to go about constructing the card. So I'm going to put this one off to the side for now. The dies that I've used are exclusively the Stitched So Sweetly dies. And the Thank You for All That You Are is from the Best Year stamp set. So the Best Year stamp set and Stitched So Sweetly dies were used to make this. And I've used some accents from the 2021-2022 in color jewels. Sorry, 2023 in color jewels. So I'm just going to pop that off to the side so we can still see it a bit. So to put this together, you're going to need to cut a piece of cardstock. This is in the soft succulent, 4 1/4 by 11. Then you're going to score at 5 1/2 and then up at 2 1/2. So that when you fold this, you're going to fold it over like this and fold it back down like that. And then you can use your bone folder to press flat the folds. So you've got your card base, or your card base, and then you're going to need a 5 1/4 by 4 in the Designer Series paper. Then you will need a piece of 2 1/2 by 4 in the same DSP to do the card front. You'll need one of the Stitched So Sweetly dies to do the inside of the card. So there's actually a place to write the greeting. And then you need the larger Stitched So Sweetly with the smaller Stitched So Sweetly cutting the DSP to make the front. You need a piece big enough to do the Thank You for All That You Are and cut it out with the frame in the Stitched So Sweetly. And then I used the little tiny one to create the base for the latch at the top of the card. So I'm going to move all of this out of the way so that we have room to work, but I just wanted to show you all the elements that went into the card. So I am going to use the bone folder and flatten my folds so they stay a little bit better. And I'm going to adhere my DSP. This is the 5 1/4 by 4 piece. And we're going to just center that as we always do and drop it down. Then I'm going to take my smaller piece of 2.5 by 4, and I'm going to put it on the bottom flap of the card. Just like this, centered nicely and dropped. And at this point, I can take the smaller of the two Stitch So Sweetly frame dies, and I'm going to adhere that to the inner fold of the card, and I'm going to center that and drop it down. So that's essentially what it looks like until you fold it up, and this will fit in a standard envelope. Then what I need to do is I need to take my designer series paper and attach it to my frame like this, centering it, dropping it down. And then this attaches flat to half of the card. So I'm only going to put adhesive on the bottom half of this piece. And I'm going to place it down. There has to be enough room to put the anchor at the top, and enough room that we have room for the pansies at the bottom. So I'm going to center this and just pop it down like that. Then we can take our greeting and we can use dimensionals to attach this to the base here. So I'm just going to put the dimensionals on like this, and then we can go ahead and adhere this, and then we can start decorating with the pansies. So we just place this down the correct way up, of course. And I put it on just so that you could see the stitching on the frame below, and that it was evenly placed with the scallop edge like that. Okay, so now we need to build the front of the card. These are going to extend over the top onto the flap here. So I'm going to put a dimensional here and then just some adhesive at the bottom. So I'll put a dimensional at the top and some adhesive at the bottom and place that down. You can have it extend over the edge for sure. Just make sure that your dimensional is actually still on the center piece, so that you don't end up sticking it to the back of the card. And we're going to pop this here. And the pink pansies, I think, might just be slightly larger than these, than the purple ones. So I'm just going to do that like that. And then I'm just going to just use some adhesive to flat attach the leaves in between the pansies like that. And then I need one of these to adhere on this side, just underneath like that. And then I need this one over here to just tuck under this edge like that. And then we need to build the piece at the bottom. And this is dimensionalized on, and this one is slightly bigger than the pink one that we did on the other one. So I'm just going to tuck this down so that you can still see the greeting, just like that. And then the leaves are going to go in just underneath it. We'll tuck that in like that, and this one in on this side, like that. Okay, and then we need to do the anchor piece at the top. So I'm going to put a dimensional on the back of this towards the top of it. And we use a dimensional so that there's room for it to go underneath. And I know that I need this to sit about here. So I'm just going to hold it there, and then I'm going to make sure I'm centered. I'm just going to pop that in like that. And now I'm going to adhere the small pansies to this, and I am going to use a dimensional to do that. Pop that like that. And just peel the back off. And then that sits up like this. And then I'm just going to put some adhesive on the end of here and tuck it in like that. And then we can see that it's going to easel up and lock underneath. And when it's all together, it holds. Not that you can see that, but when it's together like this, it will actually lock underneath there and hold the card up. So you can see how it works like that. And just to finish it off, I found that the white looked a little bit bare to me, and I didn't know what else to do. So I thought, if all else fails, get out some bling and just add bling. So wherever you feel like you need bling added, you can just pop them onto the card. And I'm using the soft succulent ones here, but there are also the fresh freesia color, and I can put that up like that. So there's a couple of different colors, and I'm going to pop another one just up here. And I think that's good. So that is the Z-Fold easel card. So it will stand upright like this. And this is it in fresh freesia, and this is it in the polished pink. So thank you so much for watching today, and let's create together again soon.